All right, everyone, let's do this one last time. I'm your host, Blake, with my co-host, Garrett.
Hey, guys.
And for the last year and a half, we've been the one and only Blake's Takes with co-host Garrett.
Oh, God. I did not know he was going to do this intro.
I had planned that. I literally planned that today. I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the Spider-Verse intro. Well, yes, if you know what I'm doing, that was the introduction of the Spider-Verse characters. So we are going to talk about Across the Spider-Verse today. This is a movie that was originally supposed to come out last year.
Yep.
And it got delayed. We got very sad.
Yeah.
It went through a few name changes too. It was going to be Across the Spider-Verse Part 1 and then Part 2.
Okay.
And then it changed to Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse.
I like the name change.
I do too.
I'm not a huge fan of Part 1, Part 2.
Never
been a fan of that.
And like Beyond the Spider-Verse, that sounds cool.
It does sound cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the end, you know what? Take your time, Sony, cuz guess what? You're doing some things right.
Yeah. This is like the one thing they're doing right now. This and the game.
I'm not going to lie. Sony's been doing Spider-Man justice.
They have.
They have been between Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse, the video game. About to get a Spider-Man 2 video game. Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
And the Miles Morales game too.
And the Miles Morales game.
Too.
It's been a pretty solid 5-year run so far.
It has been. So me and Blake saw this movie on Thursday on the initial release, 4:00 showing. What were your initial thoughts?
I mean, quick initial thoughts. It's exactly what I thought it was going to be. I knew, there's a lot of expectations going to this movie. They set the bar so high for Into the Spider-Verse, my favorite Spider-Man movie. And I mean, they just keep awing us.
Yeah.
They really do. And I think, in my humble opinion, that by the time Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out next year, this might be the best comic book trilogy of all time. And you know what? No, I know it will be the best comic book movie trilogy of all time.
If Beyond the Spider-Verse matches what they've done so far, 100% agree with you. Because I don't think, again, this is a big if, but if Beyond the Spider-Verse matches it, I don't think we've ever gotten a trilogy with this consistency.
I know.
Because it seems like the first one, the first movie, they're trying to find their footing, but not with this, bro. They started right off the fucking bat and killed it, and they did it again with this one. And honestly, I know for a fact they probably did all this voice recording, at once since they're releasing the next movie next year, right? So whenever they do like a next year release, that's normally what they do.
Yeah.
So to be honest, I feel like they already had that magic going. So this just like has my expectations even higher. Right. And not to mention, we still don't have the complete story yet.
Right.
And so that's why we need Beyond the Spider-Verse to wrap the story up.
Nah, this was a nice little treat. But I kind of want to dive into the history of Miles Morales, because I learned a few things that I didn't even know.
I feel like I knew a little bit of this, but I'm glad you did a little more research on it.
To be honest, I didn't really know how new Miles Morales was.
Very new character.
Created in 2011.
Uh-huh.
That's very new. And I feel like that's a very quick transition to becoming so mainstream right now.
I know. Honestly, but I like that, though, because he's a new original character.
Yep.
And just a totally different take on Spider-Man that we never got before. So I think that's why he was such a quick hit.
So, Miles Morales, from Earth 1610, created by writer Brian Michael Bendy and artist Sarah Pichelli, first appeared in the Ultimate Fallout #4 following the death of Peter Parker, which we clearly see that from Into the Spider-Verse.
Yep.
And, the reaction to the character varied. Some, including Stanley, approved the creation of a positive role model for children of color. Others expressed displeasure at the replacement of Peter Parker. Some fans viewed it as like an attempt by Marvel Comics to exhibit political correctness, and that introduction of a minority Spider-Man was, a publicity stunt.
Yeah, and I honestly, I'm not gonna lie, I understand that viewpoint.
Well, if you were to make Miles Morales' character just a Peter Parker, but make him a different race, then yes.
No, 100%.
But the fact that this, they don't do what they did with, say, The Little Mermaid, they made their own original character.
Exactly. Honestly, and as a fan, that's not only is that what we want, but also, there's political activists that ask for the same thing, people of color that ask for the same thing, because it is kind of insulting when you just flip the race. Like nobody wants that. You're pissing off the people who liked the original character, and it just doesn't feel genuine. But when you create original characters like this and you write them so well, and it is a person of color, like nobody's gonna have beef with that.
No,
it just works.
And not to mention, oh, he's replacing Peter Parker. Well, they're different universes, first of all.
Yeah.
So anything can happen in other dimensions.
Yeah, it's not like Peter Parker's gone. I mean, and we've seen multiple Peter Parkers in Into the Spider-Verse and, across the multiverse. So it's not like that's gone. So there's really nothing to be mad about.
No,
It's just a new story and a new character.
And I mean, that happens with every superhero, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Batman's been replaced.
Yep.
For instance.
Yeah, because we had Dick Grayson as Batman at one point.
Thomas Wayne.
We had Thomas Wayne. We got we have multiple different versions of Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm. Flash.
Yeah, Flash. Well, I mean that's more like Flash and Reverse Flash.
Right.
Oh, well, no. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
With,
you got Barry Allen, Wally West.
Yes.
Shit, I forget the old timey one, but you get what I'm saying.
Get the point.
Yeah.
But there was going to be a time eventually where Peter Parker wasn't going to make it out of something.
Exactly.
And
he's not invincible.
No, he's not. But I've just absolutely loved the character of Miles Morales. So yes, as you know, he is the first Black Spider-Man, but he is the second Hispanic Spider-Man, the first one to take the mantle. Miguel O'Hara, who appeared in the 1990s Spider-Man 2099 series, who is of Mexican and Irish descent. And
that's an interesting combination.
I know, right? Well, that's where you get the O'Hara part.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. But he played a big part in Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes, he did.
As we expected from the trailers that we saw.
Yeah, and I was so hyped to see him too, especially with what they did show in the trailer, bro. They had the claws, even his fangs, man. He is a different breed of Spider-Man for sure.
And he's kind of a dick.
He is 100% a dick.
But I absolutely love this character in Across the Spider-Verse. So yeah, when it came to the creation of Miles Morales, writer Brian Michael Bendy's thoughts about the character and the way he looked in his first appearance were mainly influenced by actor Donald Glover.
Now, this is what I told you about.
Yeah, in his appearance in Spider-Man pajamas in the season 2 premiere of Community, which was actually directed by the Russo brothers.
Yup, dude, honestly, Community is insane. That show is insane. There's so many different directions that show went in, but it is insane to me that we got a whole freaking superhero out of Donald Glover literally just wearing Spider-Man pajamas. And people saw it and they were like, cast him as Spider-Man, and thus the creation of Miles Morales.
Yeah. And we got to see him voice act as Miles Morales in Ultimate Spider-Man TV show.
Yep, we got to see that. And yeah, as the years went on, like people wanted to see him as a live action Spider-Man, but obviously that didn't work out. He got too old to play the character. But what did they do in the MCU for Homecoming? They casted him as Prowler, and he's like, I got a nephew who live here.
Yeah. And there was that deleted scene where he's on the phone, and he said, yeah, I'm not going to make it, Miles. So that is Uncle Aaron. Yes.
He is Uncle Aaron.
He is Uncle Aaron.
He's Aaron Davis. That was his name.
Yeah,
they never called him Prowler. They called him Aaron Davis.
Aaron Davis. So that's pretty cool.
That is very cool.
That is kind of crazy. Just Donald Glover giving us basically Miles Morales.
Dude, God, another thing to thank him for. I swear, that man is talented across the board. And this was unintentional.
I know. He has a lot of influence, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So just wanted to do a quick dive into Miles Morales' character, because over these last few movies, in some ways, I feel like I can connect to more with Miles Morales more than Peter Parker. Obviously not through the experience of being Hispanic or Black or living in New York and all that. Yeah. But just like the fact of, he is the younger generation Spider-Man. You know, my taste in music is more of the same of his.
Yes, that's another thing. He just seems like a more real person.
Being an artist.
Peter Parker is definitely more like a little bit old school, and he seems like, honestly, too much of a goody two shoes at time, which I know is just how he is. But I feel like Miles differs in that way.
But even Miles being an artist, because growing up I did love to draw, and then I eventually started painting as well. So I don't know. I just feel like I can connect to Miles more than Peter in a way.
I agree with you.
But all right, let's talk about the movie. So far, this movie has gotten great reviews, which we had prayed and hoped for, but expected it. So far, Across the Spider-Verse has a 9.1 on IMDb, which is the highest IMDb rating for any superhero movie. Really? Even higher than The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight at 9.0 on IMDb, Across the Spider-Verse at 9.1.
Damn, they rough.
Now, it can change as more and more people review it, obviously.
But still.
But damn.
Yeah.
95% on Rotten Tomatoes critically and 97% audience score.
Wasn't Rotten Tomatoes 97 at first? That come down a little bit?
I don't know. I guess 2%, but
whatever.
Either way.
Still.
everyone seems to be enjoying this movie. It seems to be smashing through box office expectations as well, clocking in an opening day of 51 million, which actually beat Super Mario Bros. Opening day.
Yeah, and that was expected to be like the biggest movie of the year.
I mean, it is.
It is the biggest movie of
It's
the
at
year.
1.2 billion right now. Super Mario Bros.
Shit,
Yeah,
I have not been keeping up with that.
Yeah.
God damn.
it surpassed the first Frozen movie. So now only Frozen 2 is ahead of it. So it's the second highest animated movie of all time. Highest grossing animated movie of all time.
Damn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so that's looking good for Across the Spider-Verse.
I still don't think it'll beat Mario, but it is on track to make 113 million for its opening weekend. Super Mario's 3-day weekend was 146 million. If you want to include the 5-day weekend, because remember they released that like on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because I saw it on a Tuesday night at midnight. So if you want to include that 5-day weekend, which grossed 204 million. So
I don't know, man. Spider-Man's a popular character. I feel like
it
could.
is. But it's still an animated movie. Like, people are turned off by animated movies, and I don't get it.
I don't get it either, because you can be so much more creative with it too,
Bro. And they're like, oh, how can anyone relate to a kiddie animated movie? What the fuck does that mean? How can you not?
I know. I've never understood that. You know, the movie you're watching is targeted ages 6
Right.
through 12. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? That doesn't
That's
mean it can't have
ridiculous, bro.
amazing storytelling. Even a 6-year-old knows a good story when they see it, and a good character. Like,
You're just going to ignore the beautiful artwork, the animation that all these animators put their hard work into as well.
exactly. It's like, yeah, it's visually pleasing to a 6-year-old, but it's visually pleasing to me too.
Amazing music in it. Like, bro,
Yeah.
the fact, like,
And the mainstream artists that they have that
Yes.
work on the soundtrack, like,
animated movies are for everyone.
they are, man.
No
And
matter-
that's what's beautiful about them.
I know. I've literally people in the comments on TikTok, even on Twitter, like, how could anyone love an animated movie this much to give it this high of a rating? Like, bro,
I don't get it.
it's fucking good. It's
Bro.
fucking amazing.
Bro, you're the immature one if you can't understand how an animated movie can be good. It's like, I mean, they're just like, oh, I'm an adult, so I watch movies with live characters. I'm like, you do know that these characters that you're talking about in the animated movie are voiced by real people, right?
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, that give great voice actor performances.
Exactly. And if anything, arguably the performances are even better because they really have to express the emotion through their voice, and you
Yeah.
can't see any kind of facial expression.
Mhm.
So, I mean, obviously we see it from the animation, but when they're voicing it,
Right,
the
voice has got to match it.
Exactly. So don't understand how that opinion is even out there.
No, it's insane. It is, but it is out there, and it's insane to me. So I'm glad you brought up voice acting, because I want to talk about a few things that we did love about the movie. And first thing we got to discuss is the voice acting, because they have absolutely nailed the voice acting cast
The casting, yes.
for these last two movies with Into the Spider-Verse, Across the Spider-Verse. Shamik Moore as Miles Morales.
Still killing it.
Dude, I love his voice so much. I want him to be the live action Miles Morales. I know it's a far stretch.
Yeah, I don't know if that's gonna happen though. He's a little old for that, right?
But he
Actually,
looks young.
how old is he?
He's
I don't-
28.
Oh, okay.
He's 28, but
Ooh, what if we get like a
He's-
seasoned Miles Morales? I don't know.
exactly.
That'd be
And
kinda cool.
he still does have a very young looking face.
Yeah, he does.
And they could make him look even younger than he is. You know,
Yeah.
Tobey Maguire didn't become Spider-Man until 27.
yeah.
So I don't know.
And he was playing a high schooler when he
Exactly.
first started that. So I
Exactly.
mean, it's not. I feel like it's not as far fetched
It's not.
as people think it is. God, I wish he was the voice actor for the game too, but
yeah.
it makes me mad that he's not.
But that is a different universe.
It is.
Yeah, so it wouldn't make sense. There's just a way Shamik Moore can just express his emotions that it just fits Miles very well.
It does. And he does a great job of just like capturing that
Yeah,
kitty,
yeah.
that kid personality.
Like still learning,
Yeah.
still kind of
unsure of himself,
right, yeah.
but still like hopeful
Mhm.
and you know,
Stubborn at points.
yeah. No, he does a great job.
He does. Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, which we get to see a lot
Yeah.
more Gwen Stacy
I
in
was
this
just
movie.
about to say that she played a big role.
She did.
And they did dive a lot deeper into her character and explain more as to why
Yeah.
she was the way she was in Into the Spider-Verse, you know, like her being wary about friends
Yep.
and all that. And they even go into her home life with her dad as well.
Mm-hmm. Here's honestly one of my favorite casting choices out of the whole movie. And that's going to be Brian Tyree Henry as Jefferson Morales, Miles' dad.
Yeah.
which I didn't even know the first time I saw Into the Spider-Verse that was Brian Tyree Henry.
Me neither, bro.
Paperboy from Atlanta.
Yeah. I realized that more recently. I
Yeah.
was like, what?
Dude, that first movie when he's having that conversation through the door to Miles.
Yes.
Fucking gets me every time. Like, I literally cry every time at that scene.
And then when they play a little bit of that speech during What's Up Danger?
Leap of Faith.
Or
That's what the scene's called, Leap of Faith.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, Leap of Faith. But you know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Yes, I do. He's just so goddamn good as his dad.
Mhm.
And we do get to still see a decent amount of him in this movie, at least in the beginning.
Yeah.
Luna Lauren Velez as Rio Morales, his mom,
Mm-hmm.
which, as we also recently discovered, is Captain LaGuerta from Dexter,
Yep.
the Dexter TV show. And we see a lot more of her
Mm-hmm.
in this one than we do in the last one. I feel like Into the Spider-Verse was more about the relationship with his dad, and this one felt like the relationship with his mom a little more.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I thought one of my favorite things is how disappointed she was when Miles was
Yes.
slacking in his Spanish class.
Yeah, when he get a B plus in Spanish.
Yeah, he got a B+ in Spanish, and they're like,
Yeah.
just giving him that look.
Jake Johnson, Peter B. Parker.
Yeah.
Peter B. Parker. Who would have thought Jake Johnson would have been such a good Spider-Man?
I don't know, but I'm glad he got the opportunity
Me too.
because obviously he does a great job with the comic relief, and he's a very jokester Spider-Man, which
He
is
is. He's a very seasoned Spider-Man. You
very
know?
seasoned. He's at the point where like he just does not care anymore.
Yeah,
Like he's like, I'm just
also,
messing around at this
he
point.
cares at the same time. Like, literally, he has a kid because of Miles.
No,
Like,
I
that's
know.
how much Miles touched him in the last movie.
That's insane,
Okay,
man.
that sounded a little weird.
What? That's how much he touched my.
That's how much he touched my. You get my point.
No, yeah, Miles definitely did have a big impact on him. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, no, obviously, I mean, comedy seems more like that's his way of dealing with pain, honestly, because you know we know that he's not always the happiest, and he was like depressed. He was depressed in the first movie.
He was depressed as fuck.
Yeah, I know, but he was still joking around.
Yeah. Next guy, Oscar Isaac.
Oscar
Oscar
bro,
Isaac.
killed it as Miguel O'Hara.
He did. Even though he killed it as Moon Knight too. So now he's playing multiple Marvel characters.
Yeah, only one's in the MCU though.
For now.
For now.
I mean, who do you think? Do you think you liked him better as Miguel O'Hara or Moon Knight?
To be honest, oh shit! Actually,
I know, right?
I mean, recency. Like I was gonna say
Yeah.
Miguel, like off the dome, but
He was great as Moon Knight.
he was very good as Moon Knight.
That Miguel O'Hara though.
I know.
Mm.
Honestly, I feel like it is kind of hard to compare voice acting to
Right.
live action, and then also not to mention we see way more of Moon Knight. Like, bro, he's
We
playing.
do. Yeah, it's a whole show.
I think Moon Knight is a more impressive
Okay.
feat as an actor.
Okay. And then we also have Daniel Kaluuya, which they announced he was going to be a voice for one of the Spider-Mans back in November as Hobie Brown, Spider-Punk.
Dude, Spider-Punk was great and
was.
hilarious.
He was funny. He was like, tear down capitalism.
Bro was the ultimate
yeah.
instigator.
Bro, instigator gold medal. Andy Samberg, Ben O'Reilly's Scarlet Spider.
I didn't know that. Oh, that's funny.
Yes, which the way his character acted made a lot of sense that Andy Samberg would play that role.
Yeah.
So, and I saw actually
they made him comic relief.
he was comic relief. He was kind of, obsessed with himself, his muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Because, I mean, yeah, in the comics, his muscles are very defined.
They are.
He's got big muscles.
Yeah, and that's just the way the art
Yeah.
style was done at the
Yeah.
time.
I have seen some people complain online about his character being too dumb, like being too much of a comic relief.
Yeah.
I mean, but again, like we only got a little bit of him.
Yeah,
And that perception of Andy Samberg as Scarlet Spider can completely change by the time Beyond the Spider-Verse comes because we're going to see him more in that movie.
Yeah. I mean, it's possible. We're not
Right.
too sure, but and honestly, I wouldn't take it too seriously. Like, obviously, we know that Scarlet Spider is a much more intricate character than
Mhm.
what they made him out to be in Across the Spider-Verse. Like, it was just a quick little joke. I mean, I wouldn't take it too much to heart. Like, come on. If they really want to focus on Ben Reilly in another animated thing, then they would probably take that character more seriously.
There's a lot of Ben Reilly fans, though.
I know. I love Ben Reilly, bro.
It's a dope ass outfit.
Oh, I love his suit.
It is.
His suit is sick.
It is a sick suit. Issa Rae as Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman,
Mm-hmm.
which kind of helps Miguel O'Hara run the Spider Society. Jason Schwartzman as the Spot, Karan Soni as Pavitre Pabakar, Spider-Man India.
Yeah, forgive him if he's not saying that right.
That world was cool too.
That was a really cool world.
We're gonna after we talk about the voice acting, we're gonna get into the different universes and the animation styles because animation blew me away.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I already loved the animation and Into the Spider-Verse, and all they did was improve it with this.
But yeah, the voice acting just absolutely amazing. Once again, like every character just fit their role so well. Is there a category at the Academy Awards for best voice actor?
I don't know, actually.
I feel like there should be.
There should be.
There's best animated feature film, obviously.
I feel like there should be best like voice actor lead
there
or whatever.
Needs to be.
Yeah, best leading voice actor, best supporting voice actor. Like that should be a thing.
Bro, give these people awards, man.
For real.
Like this shit ain't no joke.
It's not.
So
like
damn.
I feel like voice acting and cartoons are becoming more mainstream.
They are for sure. Like people are definitely respecting it more. Yeah, make that a category if it's not already Academy Awards.
But yeah, before we talk about the animation, we are going to dive a little bit more into spoilers. So if you haven't seen the movie yet, go see it, come back, listen to the rest of the review. But yes, the animation was fucking amazing.
Dude, we've never seen animation like this before.
No, we haven't. Honestly, we hadn't seen anything like it before when we saw Into the Spider-Verse. And they just took that and they were like, you know what? Bet. They just freaking upped it. Like,
this is revolutionizing animated movies, I think.
It's so good. And like, so the little comic book aspects that we loved in the original one, they even did a little bit more of that. Like they did that even a little more in depth.
I did. I agree with that. I agree.
Like they put out like little pop-ups to explain like it, when they showed a new character. I was like, no way.
Yes.
And honestly, they were a little too fast to read, but you know, upon like,
but still, it's just dope that they're even including that.
Exactly. And when we can watch it at home, I'm gonna like pause it and like read all that. But to me, that was so cool.
It was.
My biggest thing that I loved was like just the complete change in the style depending on which world you were in.
Yes. So there was like 6 main universes that we dived into. So we first start in Earth 6-5, which is home of Gwen Stacy.
Yep.
And was designed to look impressionistic watercolor paintings. The animation team created a simulator to generate this style and used a visual palette that reflects Gwen's emotions,
yes,
which we clearly see, like a 3-dimensional mood ring, which a mood ring changes colors based on the temperature of your finger. And so for her world, we were seeing the color palette change based off of the emotions in that scene.
I know. I noticed that immediately because whenever something good happened, it was very light colors and like the entire room just like changed. Like you thought it was like nighttime or whatever, but no, it
was a very noticeable thing.
Very noticeable. Like the color changes completely on how Gwen was feeling. And whenever she was having like an argument with her dad or something, or she was like depressed because of what she was going through, and just everything was dark and it I don't know, but it was so good. Yeah, I thought it was a very risky style to choose, but they made it work really well.
And that opening scene in Gwen's world, it was pretty long. You know, we get to see Gwen's relationship with her father, get to see her everyday life as Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
You know, her losing her best friend Peter Parker in that universe.
And how that happened.
Yeah,
and
how
everything.
that's affected her because now her dad is out there looking for Peter Parker's killer when she knows like,
well, he's looking for her killer and he thinks it's her.
It's her, yeah. He thinks it's her. So that's the reason why she goes off into this Spider Society multiverse shit because
obviously everything wasn't working out at home, and you know, and her dad finally tracked her down and you know pointed the gun at her, and she took off the mask because she was like, this is the only way I'm getting out of this. He's got a gun pointed on me. I really don't have a choice here. Took off the mask, and he was still gonna arrest her, and she just felt so freaking betrayed. And then that's when Miguel O'Hara came in, and she had the option to go. Well, he didn't want her to go, but
right. But yeah, and he was there in the first place with the other Spider-Woman because she was battling a vulture from a Renaissance universe.
That was kind of cool.
It was at first I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I was like, why is he like that?
Yeah,
but that was pretty cool.
It was.
Also, one quick thing before we move away from Gwen. Did you notice when they were back to talking about the color, but did you notice how all the colors basically were like a color off of her uniform?
Oh, really?
It seemed to me like at least what I remember, like when everything turned white, like there was still like hints of like blue
and
blue and
pink.
pink in there. And I don't know. I just thought that was cool that they kept like the color scheme, everything from her suit. Because I mean, even black is a part of her costume too. She's got like darker areas of that. So I don't know. I just thought that was a cool little hint in there.
We have Earth 50101, nicknamed Manhattan after Mumbai and Manhattan due to the world being based on the one from Gotham Entertainment Group, Spider-Man India comic. And so that's where we see Spider-Man India.
Yeah.
And he is just this happy ass Spider-Man, which was funny because, we never really see that, being Spider-Man's easy.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
I just go ahead and everything works out for me. I thought that was pretty funny.
That was funny. I fight my crime, have some chai with my mom, and then hang out with my amazing girlfriend. Everything's fine and easy.
Bro hadn't had his Uncle Ben moment yet.
No, he did not.
And that plays into the story.
It does, because he was about to have that.
Yeah, but then Miles interfered because he shouldn't have been there.
Yep. So, and this is going back all to disrupting canon events, which we do learn more, which we started to learn about from Loki. And so when they, we'll get there. We'll get there because the next Earth I want to talk about is Earth 928, Nueva York, which is the futuristic city from the Marvel 2099 world based on the neo-futuristic illustrations by Sid Mead, Spider Society headquarters. And this is where we get a lot of Miguel O'Hara. This is where we get Miles running away from all of the spider people.
Yep.
And this is what we see in the trailer too. And, this is where we learn that, Miles, your dad, he's going to die. Like this is how it happens.
And there are things that are supposed to happen. And to be honest, Miguel was kind of acting like the TVA.
Yeah.
For the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So
he was fixing pieces together, fixing those canon events that were broken.
Yeah.
They even showed that stem that looked like the multiverse that had those stems pointed out.
Like a tree.
Branch,
instead of it being a circle like it was, and they made this one a tree. But
yeah, you know what? Let's talk about Earth 928 and the Spider Society for a while, because this is where we also get some cameos.
Yeah.
Part of the story where we do learn about what it is Miguel O'Hara and the Spider Society do and why Miles can't be a part of it. They're trying to keep Miles there. He tried to trap Miles there so he can't go back to his home universe and disrupt a canon event.
Yeah.
And Miguel also has
that canon event being his dad dying.
And Miguel kind of has the thing already out for Miles because the spider that bit him wasn't from his universe. So he's telling Miles, like, you weren't supposed to be Spider-Man anyways.
Yeah. See, and honestly, that did make me question when he said that, like, you were never supposed to be Spider-Man and all that. It's like, okay, if he was never supposed to be Spider-Man,
then why?
How can he have a canon event?
Right.
But I think that's the thing is, like, that's why he's getting opposed is because you don't know what's going to happen if he goes and saves his dad. But Miguel wants to take absolutely no risks.
And I think that's something they're going to definitely dive deeper into and beyond the Spider-Verse because, he was bitten that spider. It wasn't supposed to happen. Why isn't his world being destroyed?
Exactly.
If it wasn't canon.
And I think that's all. And that's also what's pissing him off because the one time he tried to do something that, was against the canon events. It's it's kind of like Miles getting like a pass where he wasn't and it was about his daughter, right?
Yes.
He wanted to have a daughter and like have a family and everything.
And he went to a universe to replace the other Miguel O'Hara that died.
Yeah, he pulled a Rick and he replaced a dead Miguel O'Hara in a different universe, but it didn't work out, and the entire world just started crumbling.
Yeah. And I love that line too when he's running away from all the spider people and Miguel O'Hara has him trapped, and he's like, "Everyone keeps telling me how my story goes."
No, yeah, everyone's telling me how my story is supposed to go.
Yeah.
But nah, I'm going to do my own thing. I love that.
Fuck yeah.
I love that shit. And, and also I love as he was doing that, he was using his powers that no other Spider-Man has besides him.
Yes.
So he was like showing his uniqueness while saying that line.
I did forget to mention that in the talking about Miles Morales earlier. He does have two powers that no other Spider-Man have.
Yep.
And that is
invisibility,
where
or the
camouflage.
cloaking, whatever you want to call it, and
cloaking.
then his Venom shock.
Yes. Which is dope as fuck.
I love those. That's so cool, bro.
So as Miguel O'Hara is explaining these canon events to Miles as well, this is why Peter B. Parker and Gwen Stacy never saw him as well because they knew if they saw him,
they would tell him.
They would tell him.
They knew that his dad was gonna die, and they knew that
Yeah.
if they went and talked to him, they would reveal it because, I mean, how could they not? They love Miles.
yeah.
They're not gonna hold something like that from him.
So I mean, and Miles does feel betrayed, and I can completely understand that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I mean, he doesn't hate them. I know he doesn't hate them, but he definitely felt betrayed in that moment.
And I mean that whole scene in general when they're, you have the camera panning to all the Spider-Mans with their somber faces because they know like this is how it's supposed to go. Uncle Ben dies all the time. The captain.
See, but then they also treated Aaron Davis like a canon event. Him dying. They put him. Remember when they had the line of Uncle Ben's dying?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
Aaron Davis was at the end.
He was.
So they were treating that like a canon event, and then it's like, so why's he got to get two?
Yeah, why?
But that doesn't seem fair.
Well, yeah, why's Miles got to get the short end of the stick?
I mean, I guess Spider-Man, he does get Uncle Ben and then Aunt May later.
Yeah,
but
true. Well, his parents aren't even around either, so
true.
There's a lot.
I guess he's at like three or four. Like
he loses a lot of people. But some cameos that we do see.
Yes.
We see they show in like one of the panels Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man scene where Uncle Ben dies, and Andrew Garfield's scene when Gwen Stacy dies.
Yeah,
like oh shit. Okay, I like that we're acknowledging all the Spider-Verses here.
Yeah, and that live action exists among the multiverse.
Yes.
So and. Speaking of live action existing among the multiverse, one of the biggest ones was freaking Donald Glover as the Prowler in full costume. Yep. He was locked up in a cage because he was something that broke canon, and that's what they go after. He was in the wrong dimension, so they went after him, and he was in prison. But oh my god, bro, we saw a live action Donald Glover in an animated universe.
That was great.
As the Prowler. That was so freaking cool. And we're like, okay, we're getting him in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, guaranteed happening.
Finally gave us what everyone's been wanting.
Yep. I was like, oh my god, that was so cool.
That was dope. Especially knowing the history with him being the inspiration for the creation of Miles Morales.
Yup,
and
that made it even more special. And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah. Oh, and that Prowler costume looked good too.
It did. It did. He was just sitting there like playing with his gloves.
Nah, that was great. I was expecting maybe to see some live actions based off of throwback or flashbacks with maybe Andrew Garfield or Toby. I was not expecting to see Donald Glover as Prowler.
I wasn't either, bro. Another great cameo was the quick little shot of the Spider-Man PS4
Insomniac Spider-Man.
Yeah, Insomniac Spider-Man. I thought that was they were like those two are from a video game, and then they showed him and he was like, I like video games.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Oh my god, the amount of spider people that you see in this spider society.
Insane.
We can't even go over all the spider people that we see.
We literally can't. Like we'd be here forever. And I honestly props to the freaking animators and the writers too for like going back and like and covering each of the freaking alternate versions of Spider-Man that there
meticulous.
Are. Like no matter how small, they were like, oh, here's one, throw him in there, and and for the animators to include all that, bro, freaking props to you because that is awesome. And they gave so many good callbacks and
they do.
People love a good callback.
I love too how. This is how you knew Gwen was hiding something as well. In the beginning, it was like, oh, it's a small group. There's not enough slots for the Spider Society.
Yep.
And then you get to the Spider Society and there's like thousands of spider people.
Yeah.
And he was like, not many slots, huh?
Yeah. He was like, and we figure it out. It's because he was never supposed to be Spider-Man. Yep. That's why Miguel didn't want him. He is the what did they call him? Not
an anomaly.
Is it he?
Anomaly.
Yeah, he is the anomaly.
Yes.
Honestly, I keep wanting to say Nexus event, but
is that
right?
That is a thing.
I know. I like how that sounds, but
he did say anomaly.
Yeah. Is it? Didn't they use that in the TVA Nexus?
Nexus. Yeah,
I think that's why I keep wanting to say that.
Yeah, they did. If you could even think back, do you have like not sticking with like the main Spider characters with 2099, but like all the little side Spider-Mans they threw in there? Is there one that you can maybe think of that you really enjoyed or thought was a funny cameo?
To be honest, I feel like I was mainly focused on our guys.
Okay.
I thought,
because there's one I'm thinking of, the Spider Cowboy with the horse.
Oh shit, that was
a
pretty funny.
Yeah.
honestly, there were a lot of cool ones. Like there was even there was like, do you remember like that big buff girl Spider-Man that like when it was like action time, like her suit like came around her? I don't know, but
I don't know.
her suit like came on. That it was like a really cool looking suit. I don't know. I was just impressed by that. I remember that specifically.
So many spider people.
There's so many. Honestly, I'm gonna go see it again. So
Yeah.
I'll look for that next time, and I'll come back to you with an answer.
So yeah, we get a lot of time on Earth 928. Another universe that we do see. We don't go into this universe, but we just see his origin story, and that is Spider-Punk's New London.
Yeah.
And that animation style alone took 2 to 3 years to complete.
Seriously?
Yes.
It was a cool animation style.
It is. It was inspired by punk rock album covers, emulating the look of X-Rock prints, colored papers, and imagery operated from magazines, and has a general grayed out quality due to copy machines not having enough toner in the theme. And I love that because in the movie we do see Hobie go gray sometimes, like just white and gray.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough print.
Yeah.
There's not enough ink.
That's pretty cool,
Right?
actually. Yeah. Also, not to mention when he gives Gwen her little her dimension bracelet later. I loved the style of the portal. That shit looked cool. I thought it looked cooler than Miguel's.
Bro, took multiple years to complete that animation style.
That's insane.
That's insane.
Honestly, animators don't get enough love because nobody thinks about that.
Oh my God.
How much time and effort that went into that to create that image.
Well, I'm glad you said that because 1, pay them their money, but also 2, around 1,000 people worked on this film. 240 characters across 6 universes, each universe designed to look like they were drawn by different artists, obviously.
Yeah.
They originally thought they were going to need probably around the same amount of animators that they had for the first one, which was like 140, at one point 177.
Yeah.
Took a lot more people to do this one.
I would expect so. Honestly, I don't know how they thought they were going to get away with doing the same that they had for Into the Spider-Verse, because that all took place in one universe.
Yeah. Pay them their money.
For real. They deserve it.
We do see a Lego universe.
That was cool, bro.
Earth 131222.
And we get
Oh my God.
And we get a little J.K. Simmons in there as well. He was voicing J. Jonah Jameson.
Yup.
And I thought it was freaking hilarious. And I love that joke where the Spider-Man from that universe reported on an incident that was occurring.
Yes.
And Miguel was like, thanks. He was like, thanks, Spider-Man. You're one of our best.
And you hear the hang up. He makes his own sound effects. Boop.
Yep.
Boop. And obviously, yeah, that is J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson.
Who else?
Who else would
you
be?
can't get anyone else.
You can't. Another universe that we do see from the Spot, which is the villain, and the Spot is he has the powers of traveling from universe to universe.
Yep.
And one universe he does travel to when he's discovering his powers is Earth 688, which is Venom's universe. He's in the convenience store with Mrs. Chen.
Yep.
And he's like, why aren't you freaking out? You're acting like weird shit like this happens.
And she just looks at him like,
yeah. But just, I don't know. It's nice acknowledging all of these spider universes kind of coexist with each other. Because for a lot of years, I feel like each universe was trying to be so separate from their own thing, trying to be their own thing. But it's like, let's coexist, because even in the comics, Miles, like, that's where Miles forms from is, the Ultimate Marvel, like all these different parallel universes.
Yeah.
So like it was going to happen eventually.
I know. And honestly, if anything, it's more for them to capitalize off of, because you can just create however many stories you want.
Yeah.
So I don't even see why they would want to shy away from that. Maybe they were trying to be the one and only. I don't know. I don't get it, but.
So here's where things get a little interesting between these spider universes and the MCU. This has been a big question for a long time. So we learn that Peter B. Parker is from Earth 616.
Yeah.
And that is the comic universe.
Yeah.
And that's how it's been for as long as we can remember. And Miguel O'Hara references to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. He's like, don't get me started about Doctor Strange and that nerd on Earth 19999.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in the MCU, they've acknowledged that they're Earth 616.
But the only acknowledgement that we got was from Mysterio, who isn't actually an interdimensional traveler.
They also refer to it as Earth 616 in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
Do they?
They do. But even the girl who plays Miss Marvel,
Yeah.
she herself still thinks the MCU is Earth 19999. She's not convinced that the MCU is Earth 616.
I'm not convinced about it either.
At this point,
'cause,
no.
Yeah. Like, to be honest, I feel like Into the Spider-Verse is kind of calling the shots here because they got interdimensional travel down.
Yeah. I mean, and that would make so much sense.
It would make sense.
Because, like, yeah, Earth 616 is the comics.
Yeah, and it's also
And it's acknowledged in the comics as well that Earth 19999 is tagged as the MCU. So,
I don't. Yeah, honestly, I think the MCU they're trying to be the main. They're trying to be the main thing, and they just need to accept that they're not. Because honestly, it's not even the. I feel like our MCU is not even the most traditional like comic story either.
No,
like there's some differences that differ from 616.
There is
in our MCU, so it would only make sense.
So I feel like that's going to be a question that people are going to want answered in the MCU pretty soon, especially with us diving way more into the multiverse and the MCU.
I feel like Doctor Strange is going to be like, oh yeah, we had it wrong, by the way. We're 1999.
Yeah.
We ran into Miguel O'Hara. He told us the deal.
So that was very interesting. So I was like, hold up a minute. Earth 616, that's the MCU, but not really.
Nah. Peter B. Parker, he got that title.
He did. Peter B. Parker. So there's another universe that we got to touch up on as well, which is Earth 42, which is where Miles ends up at the end of the movie. Now, it sent him to the wrong universe, but it sent him there because that's the spider that he got bit from.
Yeah, and I think what it does is it analyzes the spider DNA in your system, and that's the universe that it sends you to.
Right.
And everybody else got bit by a spider in their own dimension, except for Miles.
Yes, because that spider was from Earth 42, so now he is in Earth 42, and I knew. So he makes it out of there. He makes it to his room.
Yeah,
and he starts talking to his mom. Kind of going back to their relationship that they were growing in this movie, and how his mom is kind of letting him grow up, you know, wanting just what's best for him.
Yeah.
And you have Miles, who's been dealing with, you know, not being able to tell them that he is Spider-Man, and if they would accept and love him, if they were to tell him that, if he were to tell him that, and he's having this discussion with his mom in his room at the end. And me personally, I could tell he wasn't in the right universe.
Something seemed off for sure.
Her eyes were green.
I didn't notice that.
In Earth 1610, his mom's eyes are like a yellow, like a brownish hazel color.
Yeah.
And so his mom's eyes were different, and she just looked a little different.
She looked a little different, and honestly, it seemed like she was like off the whole conversation.
Right.
Like she wasn't quite sure what he was talking about.
Well, yeah, and then he says, "I'm Spider-Man," and she's like, "Who's Spider-Man?"
Yeah. What is this? Is that one of your comic books that you've been reading? Like,
and he's like, "Oh shit, I'm not in the right universe." And everyone else that's looking for him goes back to Earth 1610 because his home, because that's where they think he is.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, Miles isn't here." In Earth 42, because that universe never had a Spider-Man.
They never had the spider, so there was no Spider-Man. It's pretty dominated by crime.
It is.
And that was a dark universe, and obviously, again, animation style reflecting that heavy.
And this is where we see Miles Morales as the Prowler in that universe.
Yeah.
Because Uncle Aaron
came into the apartment. He was like, "So you go with the plan?" And like they were doing something together. And at first, Miles was just happy to see his uncle because he was dead. He was like, "I missed you" and everything. And but they were making comments like, "Oh, you took your dreads out," like that kind of thing. Yeah. But whatever. He's like, "You good with the plan?" He's like, and he's just going along with it because he doesn't want to give it away yet. But that did not last long.
No. So he knocks Miles out, and he is trapped on the punching bag that he is trapped on Into the Spider-Verse.
The same way that he trapped Peter. He tied up Peter B. Parker.
Yes.
And and even that was a little nod right there that Miles was going to be Prowler, because that was just the way Miles thought to tie people up on the punching bag. So I thought that was a cool little nod before they made the reveal. But holy shit, what a reveal, bro.
Yeah.
He's like, "Who are you?" "I'm Miles Morales."
Yeah, he has more of a Hispanic accent.
He's got the Hispanic accent in there, and he said it with perfect Spanish.
Yeah.
And but you can call me the Prowler.
And that's where it kind of leaves off, really.
Yeah, that's the end of the movie right there.
Cliffhanger right
man.
there. We do also get to see Gwen Stacy, who is kind of sick of Miguel O'Hara at this point and is creating her own team to go find Miles.
Yeah, and she has her own dimension jumper, whatever. God, I don't know what to call it. Did they even have a name for it? Bracelet? I don't know. Whatever. But she has her own bracelet that Miguel can't control because at first she had the one that she had from him. They like blocked her off.
Yes.
She couldn't travel dimensions anymore. So she got a new one from Spider-Punk.
Yep.
And
she's putting a team together to go find Miles and save him because it consisted of, we get to see Spider-Man Noir again.
Yep.
Penny Parker.
Yep.
Peter B. Parker. And I think a few more. I forget who. I think Spider-Pig? I think that original team is reassembled.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely get to see more of them in Beyond the Spider-Verse. And holy shit, I can't wait for them to continue this Prowler Miles Morales story.
Now, I don't know. It clearly does end pretty abruptly. Now, people have been a fan of that. People have not been a fan of that. They like the cliffhanger. No. Some people were upset that there wasn't really a conclusion.
Come on. When you have movies like this, and especially, honestly, I feel like the fact that they're dropping it next year, you shouldn't be coming out very quickly. Yeah, you shouldn't be too mad. Like, have a little patience because this is going to pay off.
It was going to be originally a part 1 and part 2.
Exactly.
They wanted to make it all in one, but they couldn't. It was too long. It was too long. So they broke it into part 1 and part 2. So there was going to need to be that cutoff point.
There needs to be.
So yeah, what are some of the things that you really enjoyed about this movie?
One thing I liked a lot was them diving deeper into Miles and Gwen's relationship. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we got to see a little like more of that because obviously
that was sparked in
there was some tension there for sure.
Yeah,
and you know, and I like how like Gwen was even more aware of it because now that she's been traveling from dimension to dimension, she's like, in every universe, Gwen Stacy falls for Spider-Man, and it never ends well. Yeah. And I was like, I ain't gonna let that deter me. He's like, there's a first for everything, right? I was like, hey, good line right there, my guy. Good line.
Yeah. No, I love the relationship that they have.
Mm-hmm. They have a really good chemistry.
They do. And Shamik Moore thinks he's slick too. There was an interview. You saw that?
I saw that. Yeah. He's throwing little nods. He's like, it's easier to flirt with Gwen Stacy in the movie when I'm looking at Haley voicing right over there. I'm like, you think you slick? It ain't working.
Go back backstage. You see 6'6" Josh Allen standing there waiting for Haley.
Oh my God.
That's a very random couple.
That's a really random couple.
Josh Allen, quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, and Haley Steinfeld of the Buffalo Bills. Not even like
a major team.
Well,
I
mean, it is a major team because they're good now.
Okay, yeah.
But you like not like a Hollywood team, not like the LA Rams or the New York Giants or a team like that. The Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
I don't know. Lucky
guy though. Yeah, because the first movie they did all of their recording separately.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, they did. And so this time they were like, hey, put us in the same booth, you know?
Sure, Shamik was happy about that.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I'm sure. So Miles noticeably does grow. He does have more muscle on him.
Good. I was glad to see that.
He looks good.
He does look good. He got a little bit of a growth spurt going on.
Uh-huh. The suit. Got a new suit.
I like the new suit. I like them both. I like both the suits.
Do you like the new suit better than the old suit? It's hard.
That's a hard choice. Okay, like honestly, they're
not gonna be able to hear you.
Oh yeah. But with the jacket and the shorts and the shoes and everything, I do like Miles' original suit better. But I think by itself, I think I like the new suit better.
It's sleek.
It is very sleek.
It's very sleek.
And it's still got the paint job the spray painting aspect to it. If you paint, it's a little more defined with the lines.
Yeah.
But if you pay close attention, like you can still see like the little spatter from the spray paint can. So that there is still that aspect to it.
Both are great suits. I do like both suits better than his comic book suit. Absolutely.
Yes,
for sure.
100%. The whole spray painting thing is so cool.
And it fits his character so well. So.
It does.
But yeah, he's definitely gotten some strength to him. He's learning how to use his powers.
Mm-hmm. No, I honestly, and I think that is definitely one of the things that I like more about this movie is that we got to see Miles really like come into his own.
Yes, for sure.
And obviously that happens with every first and second movie of like a superhero, basically, because obviously they're gonna, be a little bit more skilled in the next movie.
Music, once again, great. I think the score in this had a little bit of a darker tone, for sure.
For a darker story, obviously. Yep. So gonna match it well. Soundtrack again.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
We have Metro Boomin producing that this time.
Yep.
With a bunch of collaboration of artists.
Yep.
And
it was like Lil Uzi, I think Sway Lee again.
Yeah, it was Sway Lee.
JID.
Offset was on there as well.
ASAP Rocky,
Lil Wayne,
Yep.
Nas was on there.
Don Toliver, 21 Savage, 2 Chainz, a lot of people. Once again, music was great.
I think my favorite song on there is "Am I Dreaming."
Yeah,
that's got to be my favorite one.
I think
with the hook being by Royce, who I've never even heard of.
Oh, it was a good ass hook.
I love her hook and I love her voice.
So yeah, if you do want to listen to the songs from that album, go ahead and check it out because they always do that.
They always do it on the official release day.
Yeah.
It's on iTunes, on Spotify.
Like
obviously.
the same thing they did with Into the Spider-Verse.
But I really like the vibe of this new album. I like the vibe a lot.
Just like the whole vibe of this universe that it's created in general.
Yeah.
You know, with the static glitches and all that.
Mm-hmm.
The glitchy computer colors with like the neon blue, green, red, all that stuff.
It's very cool.
It is. Okay, so I saw this one tweet on Twitter that kind of brings up a pretty interesting point. And the tweet was, in the next 30 years, it's very possible that Miles Morales can be more commonly known as Spider-Man than Peter Parker to the younger generation.
It is possible.
With how mainstream Miles is coming, how quickly he's becoming more mainstream as well as of right now because of the Across the Spider-Verse movies, because of the Miles Morales game, and he's going to be in the Spider-Man 2 game as well.
Yeah.
So Miles is getting a lot of projects right now.
He is, but for every Miles project, we also have Peter Parker.
Yes.
So I could see that, but people are still going to know Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So I don't know about like
when you hear Spider-Man, I mean, yeah, the first thing you think of is Peter Parker.
It's Peter Parker.
But if I'm going to be honest, I have really been enjoying the story of Miles Morales. Miles Morales is easily becoming one of my favorite characters in all of Marvel.
Yeah,
absolutely. And like I said earlier in the podcast, like in a way, I can relate more to Miles' character just off of his way of thinking, his creativity, him liking to do art, his
taste in music,
all that stuff. His relationship with his parents as well. Like, I don't know. He's a very relatable character.
Very relatable. And I think that's why he's so liked.
But yeah, clearly there's not much we didn't enjoy about this movie.
I don't think there was anything I didn't enjoy, honestly.
Exactly. Same as for Into the Spider-Verse as well. But yeah, at the end of the day, I think by the time Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out next year, this will be the greatest comic book trilogy. I strongly believe that. Possibly even one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Or it will be one of the greatest trilogies of all time. And is there a chance that it could be the best trilogy of all time? And now we got Lord of the Rings, the original Star Wars.
You're playing on dangerous ground there,
but it will be one of the greatest.
One of the greatest for sure.
And in my opinion, best comic book movie trilogy. But with that being said, of course, we have to do a Spider-Verse movie ranking. So all of the Spider-Man movies in the different Spider-Man universes, MCU, Sony, all 13 of them. So with that being said, Garrett, give me your ranking of all the Spider-Man movies, including the MCU, Sony, and the animated movies.
All right.
All 13 of them.
The Sony verse, everything.
Yes.
Got you. All right. Here we go. At 13, I have Morbius because it's Morbius. Dude, we literally, I feel like we went to go see this movie as a joke and we were disappointed that we didn't laugh more, even though there were definitely some laughably bad moments.
There are, but not as bad as I thought there would be.
Not as bad, but still. 13, I got Morbius. At 12, I have Venom, Let There Be Carnage.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, didn't even see this movie. But
you just think it's better than Morbius, huh?
Yep, it's got Tom Hardy and it's got Woody Harrelson. That's good enough for me. And I already like the CGI that they do with Venom and everything. Right. And I saw what, in the trailer and stuff, what Carnage looked like. I thought he looked dope. So better than Morbius, but whatever. I probably should watch it, but still, that's at 12. And 11 got Venom right after it. Tom Hardy. I love him in that role, but the writing just isn't there. And it's, I don't know. And it's weird to have a Venom with no Spider-Man. You know what I mean? Like, it's very weird to see Venom without that emblem on his chest. I'm like, what the hell? even though technically that doesn't come from
I
Spider-Man.
was about to say,
But
yeah.
I know, but come on. Originally it came from Spider-Man. Now, this is going to differ from my original list, but at 10, I have The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Obviously, in this one, we got bad villains, cramming too much into one movie. But we did have some very good heartfelt moments with Andrew Garfield, obviously being the highlight of these movies, and the acting and his relationship with Gwen Stacy. Those are obviously the best parts of that movie.
Hey, look, before the TASM fans start ripping our asses in the comments, look, we know the TASM movies did get a few things right.
Yeah, of course. I mean, they got the suit right. I love both of the Garfield suits. I think they both look cool. Personally, I think the first one's even a little cooler because I like the unique take on it. But and also the swinging style that he has and the fights, like they did definitely get things right, but the writing was not there for TASM 2, and it's unfortunate because I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. So it was sad to see that his sequel did not get a lot of love, and even led them to, recasting him and doing Tom Holland and all that.
Yeah.
So I hate to see it, but I wish he could have got a complete trilogy. At number 9, I have Spider-Man 3. Originally I had this below TASM 2, but I don't know. Maybe it's the nostalgia coming back to me.
Honestly,
but I think the main reason why is because one, score, fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Love it so much. And just that black suit is iconic. I freaking love Tobey's black suit.
I like what they did with the black suit.
Yeah. I know it's not that comic accurate one, but it is. I think it worked for that universe very well. But again, this one suffers the same thing as TASM 2 with cramming too much into one movie, too many villains into one. But we got some very good fight. I think we got some good fight scenes out of this.
There's a lot of good fight scenes in that one.
Yeah.
The Raimi movies in general, I think the fight scenes, a decent amount of them still hold up.
They do hold up for sure. And underrated one that I mentioned in our other video was the train fight scene in the third one against Sandman, like in the subways below. I thought that was really cool. At number 8, I have Far From Home. Again, I know this might be a controversial take, but I just don't love Far From Home like that. Great actors, great everything, but it's just like, it just felt very average to me. Like it was just like good. It was good.
Okay.
It was good across the board.
Okay.
Like you got a great actor like Jake Gyllenhaal and everything as the villain, but again, like we said, his motivation was very weird.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just good. I got no hate for it, but I don't have a lot of love for it.
Yeah.
At number 7, I have TASM 1. Garfield's first performance as Spider-Man, which was really cool to see because as we learned, Garfield loves Spider-Man.
Yeah.
He was so thrilled that he could play the character. Again, great chemistry between him and Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy. Some great like tragic moments from him as well. We had the death of Captain Stacy at the end. Again, the retelling of the death of Uncle Ben and everything. And to be honest, the death of that led to one of my favorite moments with his bully, Flash, at school. I love because he came up to him and he thought he was going to mess with him at school again. But bro, he just had enough of the shit and he like shoved him up against the locker and he was like, your uncle died. I get it. You're angry. And like, I don't know. I just, it was a very heartfelt moment that I wasn't expecting that we would get from a bully like that.
Right.
So honestly,
we don't get that from the other Spider-Man movies.
No, we don't. Of all the Flashes, he's my favorite.
Okay.
At number 6, I have Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay.
Biggest thing about this, I loved Vulture as a villain. I thought Michael Keaton was a great casting for that.
Underrated villain in the MCU.
Also loved his motivation as well because it was a very relatable.
Very grounded.
It was a very grounded and relatable ambition that he had. And yeah, we get to see Tom Holland again after his introduction in Civil War.
Yep.
And I think Tom Holland just like captures that perfect balance between, the nerdy kid and the quippy Spider-Man. He's not quite as quippy as Garfield, but I do love my Tom Holland Spider-Man. I think he's probably the most accurate comic book portrayal.
Right, yeah.
So
I was gonna say based off of like size and everything too.
Yeah, his size, his age. That was a big thing. I mean, he's playing a 14-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
When they first casted him, and he was 19. I think when they casted him, they casted him at 19 years old. It was the first
time that a teenager had actually been casted.
Exactly, to play a high schooler and a teenager. So I was like, thank God.
Yeah. Not to mention he already looks young.
He already looks young. He just fit the character very well. At 5, I have Spider-Man 1.
Okay.
This one's playing on nostalgia a lot again, but I mean, it's still a great movie.
It's a very good origin story.
It's such a good origin story. And not to mention, bro, they were venturing into uncharted waters doing this superhero movie.
You're right.
And they still did an amazing job with it.
Yeah.
And not to mention freaking Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. Oh my God. What more could you ask? Because he was born to play that role and did it to perfection. Unbelievable performance from him. And we just get the classic telling of that Spider-Man story. And not to mention Tobey's got that organic webbing, which is cool too.
It is. They find it fascinating in No Way Home.
Yeah.
When you look at it from when you look at the numbers, like statistically based off the comics, Tobey isn't the most accurate.
No, he's not.
Spider-Man. But I mean, come on. He
did a good job.
He's still a lot of people's favorite Spider-Man, which I get.
Yeah. And right above that, I got Spider-Man 2.
Okay.
Doc Ock was a great villain. Got the iconic fight scene on the train. I mean, like, come on.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think one of my beefs with this was the love story was very weird.
Oh, yeah. I think they have the worst love story.
They do.
Yeah.
They definitely do. I felt like no chemistry in that love.
Yeah.
But whatever. Still, Spider-Man 2, amazing movie. Definitely an improvement over the original. At number 3, I have No Way Home.
Okay.
No Way Home, say what you will about plot holes and everything, but the fact that they were able to capture all that nostalgia in one movie, and we also got to see some amazing performances from Andrew Garfield again, which he needed desperately. Like, this was like the closure that we wanted in a Spider-Man 3.
I agree.
In an amazing Spider-Man 3 from him, so give us a little closure on that. And again, Green Goblin, Willem Dafoe. We get to see him live action again as the main villain, and fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Not to mention a whole Sinister Six. So almost a whole Sinister Six, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, we get to see the villains that we all grew up with, and
and dealt with the multiverse a lot in this movie as well.
Mm-hmm. And we saw Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange, which was very interesting.
That was an interesting fight. And I thought it was really funny how he got pushed out of his body, but his spider sense was still going.
Yeah,
that was cool. That was cool to see.
That was.
At number 2, I have Into the Spider-Verse.
Okay. Damn. Okay.
Yeah, I got into the Spider-Verse. Obviously, just like a flawless movie everywhere. Like, I don't think there was one moment where I cringed. There was no cringe moments or anything. Like, everything felt so organic and natural, and get chills every single time during the leap of faith scene. And they play What's Up Danger, like Miles coming into his own and seeing a completely unique take on Spider-Man.
One of the greatest scenes in cinematic history.
It's so good, bro.
Not just comic books, cinematic history.
No, it's so fucking good, and I can never get enough of it. So, Into the Spider-Verse at 2. At number 1, maybe it's recency bias, but I do have Across the Spider-Verse.
Wow.
Reasons I have it above Into the Spider-Verse is, one, I'm a sucker for cameos. So, the amount of cameos and the attention to detail in this movie was absolutely insane. The improvement on the animation style that we already saw in Into the Spider-Verse.
Animation was fucking insane.
Further impressed me, and I was just like, this is fucking beautiful. This looks like you ripped it right out of a comic book page and put it on the screen and made it come to life. I was just absolutely astonished with how amazing this movie looked. The music was amazing. Soundtrack was amazing. Miguel O'Hara, we got to see his character. And not to mention the amazing casting of Oscar Isaac to play that role as well. Diving into the relationship between Miles and Gwen, and even his relationship with him and Peter B. Parker, from what we saw in the first movie.
Yeah.
And bro, it was just so good all over. I would say, like, the only slight downside for Across the Spider-Verse is the ending felt a little abrupt. Because, the story wasn't complete, but honestly, I kind of felt like that was coming because the movie, like,
you could feel it.
You can feel like when a movie is going a little too long, and I was like, they're introducing too much here to keep this movie going. It's been too long.
I agree. I was watching. I was like, it's gonna end soon. I know it's gonna end soon. It's been too long.
I was feeling it too. So I mean, honestly, like, it was a little disappointing, but disappointing in the sense that, you know, the story wasn't complete, but I was kind of expecting that, especially knowing Beyond the Spider-Verse is coming next year. So I was like, all right, at least I don't got to wait another 5 years.
Especially since it was originally supposed to be all one story, but it's too long. Then they were going to break it into a part 1, part 2. So
honestly, I was totally okay with that, but good God, just fucking amazing across the board. And I loved getting to see Miles like really be in control of his powers. Like that was the one thing I didn't love about Into the Spider-Verse, but obviously I know it's because he's learning.
Yeah.
You know, he's young. He's still got to learn. He didn't really know what he was doing till the end. But we really got to see Miles use his powers properly in Across the Spider-Verse, and I think that was one of my favorite parts. So Across the Spider-Verse at number 1, just an amazingly told story.
Goddamn. All right.
So now tell me your rankings of all the Spider-Man movies.
All right, we got 13 here. Starting at number 13, the very bottom, Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Okay.
I don't know. It was only 90 minutes. I don't even know how it could have even been shorter than the first one because the first one it didn't even have, you know, a second act.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy Eddie Brock's and Venom's relationship more in the first one, you know, still learning how to pair with each other and all that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did like Woody Harrelson as Carnage, but I wasn't the biggest fan.
Okay.
Just like his whole style as well looked very goofy. I know Cletus Cassidy, you know, he's got the red hair and everything, looks crazy.
Yeah, well, like he is insane.
Right.
Yeah.
He is insane, but it just looked too much like a carrot head. Like it didn't look, I didn't think
menacing.
I didn't think the makeup and hair wardrobe was all that great for him. And,
like I said, I didn't see the movie, but
I mean, I think even it was more forgettable than the first one, to be honest. We kind of do have a similar ranking. At number 12, I do have Venom.
Really? Okay.
Again, like the movie doesn't have a second act. I don't know. I'm going to feel really weird about this, but at 11, I'm going to put Morbius.
That's interesting.
It is very interesting. Clearly a lot was cut out of that movie. Clearly, it seems like a lot was left on the cutting room floor for Morbius, Venom, and Venom Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah.
All why those movies are at the very bottom. So honestly, I don't think it really matters where you place those 3 movies in your rankings as long as those 3 are at the bottom.
True.
That's fine.
Yeah. They're all terrible.
Yeah. But at least it felt like we got more of a backstory to Morbius.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we did for sure.
Even
though like some of the scenes were straight ripped out of Batman Begins.
Yeah, agreed. What's his name? I forget his name, but Milo.
Yeah.
The villain in Morbius. Obviously he is, what's the name? Targaryen.
Oh yeah.
What's his first name?
Damon
Targaryen.
Yeah.
Clearly a lot better role in House of the Dragon.
Yeah, he's a great actor.
He is a great actor.
It's just a shit role.
It's a shit role. But we got some funny moments out of that too. Funny memes of him dancing and shit.
No, honestly, it's kind of funny getting these like terrible movies because we do get some very memorable memes. Like,
we do.
Even though we love the original trilogy movies, so many great memes out of there.
Probably the most memed movies ever.
Probably.
So like I said, I don't think it really matters where you place Morbius, Venom, and Venom Let There Be Carnage as long as those 3 are at the bottom.
Fair point.
At number 10, I do have The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Look, I know you TASM fans are going to come after me, whatever. I don't give a fuck. Look, I do admit they did get some things right. They did, for sure. There's some great, beautiful shots in that movie. The web slinging's great. It's good fight scenes. But look, it's still a messy movie.
It is.
And yes, we do get a very emotional scene. Great acting moments from Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone. Like, beautiful chemistry. Look, we know they got some things right, all right? And at number 9, Spider-Man 3.
Okay.
Still another messy movie.
Yeah.
But it's still fun to watch.
It is fun to watch. Honestly, I'll say that one's more rewatchable than TASM 2 for sure.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Like you were saying, bro. The score.
Yeah.
Still beautiful.
Score is amazing.
Still amazing.
So good.
I really enjoy Tobey Maguire's black suit. I do.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's sharp.
It is.
Another get a lot of memes out of Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, you do.
That fucking dancing scene, bro. Oh my God. But see, I love, because of that terrible scene, now we're able to go back and make fun of it. They make fun of it into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, they do.
So we still get I think the fight scenes in Spider-Man 3 still hold up. At number 8, it is going to be Spider-Man Far From Home. Now we're getting into the territory where I like these movies.
Yeah.
I think these are good Spider-Man movies.
They are.
I know Spider-Man Far From Home does get a lot of hate. Yes, I do think the motive of Mysterio is pretty weird.
Yeah.
I do love some of the scenes with Mysterio, though. Trippy as fuck. Great visuals.
Especially, though, I think the fight scenes are, again, one of the stronger points of that movie.
I agree. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of, Peter Parker in that movie, not really wanting to deal with being Spider-Man and just wanting to be a kid and go on vacation. That's not Spider-Man. I'm like, bro, yeah, he's still a kid, though. Like,
yeah, he is.
And not to mention you're in a universe that has other superheroes. So, I mean, it's understandable. I think it fits fine for the MCU and what was going on at the time. And, you do have still a lot of other superheroes in that universe.
And to be honest, with this Peter Parker, we still haven't really gotten that, great power comes great responsibility speech yet, because that ends up coming from May, not Uncle Ben.
Yes.
So that does make sense.
Right. But at the end of the day, I still think it's a fun Spider-Man movie. At number 7, got The Amazing Spider-Man 1. Again, just going back to Andrew Garfield. It's because of Andrew Garfield, really.
Yeah. Man makes the movie.
I'll be one to admit, I wasn't like the biggest fan of him as Spider-Man. It was upon these last few years, rewatching some things and especially seeing him in No Way Home.
Yeah.
Damn, he's a good ass Spider-Man.
He is.
And it's because he loves playing the character.
He knows the character.
He knows the character. He loves Spider-Man.
Also, he's just like a genuinely funny person.
Yeah, he is.
So all the quips and everything with Spider-Man, he is definitely he's the best Spider-Man like in the suit, I think.
I agree.
Like with the quips and all that shit.
Live action. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
For live action. There's some good fight scenes, against Lizard in the school. Thought that was a fun fight scene. Visual effects were good in that movie as well.
Yeah, they were.
I'm a fan of the suit. I like the unique take on the Spider-Man suit. Music was pretty good in that one as well.
Yep.
At number 6, got Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay.
Vulture, I think, is my favorite part of this movie.
Yeah.
An underrated MCU villain, in my opinion. Like you were saying, very grounded motivation. Love the twist of him being Liz's father.
Right? Yeah.
Great twist.
I wasn't expecting that either.
And the scene alone when they're in the car, he's looking in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Ooh, that was a menacing scene.
That was. Good old Spider-Man was there. And I was like, damn, bro. And what was even like crazier is like, I realized like as he was talking, okay, you should realize that the light turned green when he was saying all that.
He wasn't going.
Oh, no, he wasn't going. He was like, I just figured this shit out.
Yeah,
That was very cool.
Hell no, that scene alone.
Yeah, and then his conversation in the car with him when he parked, and he's like, I gotta give him the dad talk.
Yeah, it's like, he has been in a lot of comedy movies. He's a funny dude.
Yeah, he is.
But I think he gave some chilling scenes in Homecoming.
No, he has some very good monologues.
He did. And even the facial expressions too. It's like, ooh, come back to those days where you want to get nuts. Let's get nuts.
Yeah.
Even or like say Beetlejuice. So he does have he can be very animated at times. Iron Boy Jr., I know people's complaint. I love his relationship with Tony Stark in that movie. Gives him that father relationship.
Yeah. Like
we said, it fits that MCU universe.
It does. Like, God, it doesn't have to be Tobey's Spider-Man. Like,
and I mean, at the end of the day, he still had to be Peter Parker, do things on his own. He had his suit taken away. So at the end of the day, he was Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Number 5, Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2, for a couple of reasons. So I like Green Goblin better than Doc Ock. I think the love story is even weirder in this one. It's not good. They don't have a good chemistry.
No.
Now it is still OG Spider-Man movie. That train fight scene with Doc Ock, amazing. Honestly, all the fight scenes in this movie were great.
Yeah.
Alfred Molina was great as Doc Ock. And oh my God, the effects in that too. And like the practical effects with his tentacles.
Yes.
It was amazing.
I was like, and also one of the things I love about Spider-Man 2 as well is the that horror scene that we got from him. When they were operating on the tentacles, I was like, shit.
That's a good scene.
Yeah, it
was pretty scary.
Yeah, it was.
Even you go back and rewatch it.
That scared me as a kid.
You go back and rewatch it. Even now, it's still a great scene.
Yeah.
No, I do like those horror aspects thrown in there. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, come on, man. OG Spider-Man movie. I know people would probably have that one higher.
Yeah.
But it's still a great movie. Number 4, I do have Spider-Man 1 for the reasons I just said. Willem Dafoe as Green Goblin. I do like him a little better.
All right.
God damn, he was good.
All right. And I thought it is a very good intro to Spider-Man and him coming into his power.
I think it was a great origin story. Just getting that great power comes great responsibility. That first time hearing the Danny Elfman theme for Spider-Man. you know, like you were saying, they were going into uncharted territory with bringing this big Hollywood live action Spider-Man to the screen, something that's going to be taken serious, you know. Up until then, well, you had the X-Men movie. You had the first X-Men that came out a few years before. So people are like, okay, well, maybe superhero movies can, you know, start being taken a little more serious.
Yeah.
Especially Marvel, because at that point, Marvel had a lot of like goofball TV shows from the 70s and 80s.
Yep.
So Marvel itself, that was their time to really change things for them. And those first few Spider-Man movies were a big reason because of that. Love the suit.
Yeah. It's a classic suit.
Classic suit. And because it's a classic practical suit, we get to see that shit fucked up in those fights.
Yeah, I do know. I know that you like that aspect of it.
And I just think the antagonist protagonist relationship is better between the two than compared to Doc Ock and Spider-Man, the second one.
Agreed. But I do like the relationship that they had before Doc Ock turned evil.
Right.
Yeah, like he was, you know, a mentor. Yeah, a mentor, professor. Yeah. So I did like that.
At number 3, Spider-Man No Way Home, the best live action Spider-Man movie to me.
Yep.
It's got everything you want. Come on, man. It's got everything you want. Some plot holes, whatever. You know, all these other fucking movies got some plot holes as well.
Yeah.
This is our childhood all wrapped into one. Our past,
our collective childhood,
our past, our present, our future, all in one. With these Spider-Mans, with all these villains. I love some of the changes that they made to like the characters' wardrobes, especially with Green Goblin. You know, he looked a lot more comic book Goblin.
Yeah. He didn't need the mask, bro.
He didn't need the mask, especially with that face.
Bro matches the facial expressions perfectly.
He does. I thought he even stepped it up a notch in No Way Home.
Bro, he did.
He did.
I feel like we saw more of his strength.
We did. I love what they did with Jamie Foxx and Electro. I thought he looked really good as Electro.
He did. I like the change.
I like the change.
I thought it was funny how they even addressed like how he.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, people were like, "Why does he look like that? He was blue."
Right,
and
right.
I was like, okay. And they even addressed that. They were just like, he was like, yeah, he looked like a nerd in the other universe, but he was like, I like this universe. I don't know. I thought it was funny how like they made a joke about it, and they were still able to change his appearance because yes, this was a much more, this was a much more comic accurate Electro. And plus his suit looked cool.
Plus, especially when you saw him use his powers at that end fight scene, you saw his like electric mask too.
Yes. Yep.
There was honestly, it was great chemistry between Tom Holland, Tobey Maguire, and Andrew Garfield. Great banter in the movie. Honestly, better chemistry than I thought we were gonna get from them. Andrew Garfield stole a lot of scenes, man.
Yes, he did.
This was his time to shine, redeemed himself, saving MJ.
Andrew saw this movie. He was like, all right, time to show these bitches I'm the best Spider-Man out there.
Yeah, I think a lot of people that didn't like him as Spider-Man, after they saw this, they probably took a minute to rethink.
Gave that a second thought for sure.
Give it a second evaluation for sure. Even myself, I was like, damn, he might be the best Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Like in the suit, the best Spider-Man. You know, we did, there was dark moments, sad moments. We finally got to see Tom Holland go through his tragic moments with his Spider-Man story. And
that was definitely the darkest
for sure.
Tom Holland movie.
And he's going to have to start from scratch now and become Spider-Man. You know, he doesn't have support. He doesn't have his Aunt May. He doesn't have Tony Stark. He doesn't have, you know, the other superheroes. He doesn't have the Avengers.
It's just him.
Yeah.
Listening to the police scanner.
Yeah. So I thought it was a great story.
Yeah. And it was a great lead up to what we're going to get in the future. So
number 2, Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm not going to let the recency bias get me yet, but, not much to say, man. It's amazing. This whole Spider-Verse is just fucking amazing. The animation, I will say, the animation was better than Into the Spider-Verse, as you could expect, you know?
Yeah.
They perfected this shit. All the different animation styles. Like, we truly have never seen anything like it.
No.
And these Spider-Verse movies are revolutionizing animated movies. They are. And fuck y'all talking about animated movies are for everyone, not just for kids. Like, I fucking feel it emotionally. These animated movies have more heart and soul than all these other live action movies.
I know, dude. I'm like, name another movie that gives you chills like that,
dude.
Because I can't.
No.
Like both of these movies have given me chills every time I've watched it.
Absolutely. Once again, voice acting just knocked it out of the park. Every casting choice they've had with these two movies has been
perfect.
Can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse. Number 1, it is still Into the Spider-Verse, my favorite Spider-Man movie.
I feel like you're gonna die on that hill forever.
I'm gonna die on that hill.
I feel like Beyond the Spider-Verse has to be like fucking revolutionary
I don't know.
throw it off that
It's
pedestal.
gonna have to rip my heart out because I think Into the Spider-Verse is a flawless movie. I think it's a masterpiece. 5-star, 10 out of 10. Like I was saying, these animated movies have so much fucking heart, and I literally get upon my rewatch of Into the Spider-Verse, I cried 4 times. Like the relationship that Miles has with his dad in this, and Brian Tyree Henry, Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, the voice acting is just so fucking good. The music is amazing. Leap of Faith is one of the best scenes in cinematic history, not just in comic book movie history, but cinematic history. It was an introduction to a whole new kind of animation style that we had never seen before.
Yep.
Looked like it was ripped straight out of a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing bad to say about it, man. There's nothing bad to say about it.
Not going to be mad at you for putting that across, but yeah.
And the first Spider-Man movie to touch upon the multiverse, and they did an amazing job handling the multiverse.
It wasn't overwhelming.
Even Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker and Haley Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy just killed it.
Yeah.
Absolutely killed it. Nicolas Cage, Spider-Man Noir, like all these fucking characters, bro, just absolutely killed it. Mahershala Ali as the Prowler. What's his name? Kingpin.
Oh.
Victor.
Shit.
Lee
Shriver.
Lee Shriver as Kingpin too. Catherine Hahn
as Doc Ock.
Yes, Doc Ock. I've said it multiple times on this podcast episode. Miles Morales is becoming one of my favorite characters in all of Marvel, all of comic books, actually.
Yeah.
Like they have just these last 2 animated movies is just peak storytelling, and I feel like Miles Morales has become the most relatable Spider-Man to the young, especially to the younger generation.
Yeah,
I think so.
I can agree with that.
Into the Spider-Verse, still my number 1.
All right.
And I'll die on that fucking hill. All right, there you have it.
Good list.
So let's do this one last time.
Christ.
I'm your co-host, Blake. I'm your host, Blake, with my co-host, Garrett. And this has been your choice of podcast for the last year and a half.
Please tell me you're not putting that in there.
I might.
Oh, God.
I might. All right, guys. So that's going to do it. We gave you our Spider-Man movie rankings, all of them. We gave you our review. Look, you already knew we were going to talk about this movie being a masterpiece. Both of these Spider-Verse movies have been just absolutely amazing.
Can't wait for Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Oh my God, can't wait. We get it less than a year, so that's good. Let us know what you thought of this movie. Let us know if you think it's just as much of a masterpiece as we do.
Or are we overhyping it? We're not.
I don't think so, man.
We're not overhyping it.
So.
Tell us all you want, but we're not going to believe you.
These animated movies are for everyone. I think they're beautiful. It is a work of art. Like, respect to these animators because, like we said, like some of these animation styles take years to perfect.
It is insane.
Years. It's crazy. Straight out of a comic book, it looks like.
And it's just so fresh after getting just Pixar. I feel like they're just like kind of stuck in their same mode.
Agreed.
Granted, I do love DreamWorks. DreamWorks has been dropping hits, especially recently.
Yeah.
But again, it's still like a similar animation style that we're used to with like that 3D animation.
Agreed.
But this is just something totally new, and I'm so happy we're able to experience it.
Agreed. So that's going to do it for this review of Across the Spider-Verse. 5 stars. Would you agree?
5 stars.
5 stars. There you have it. Thanks for listening. If you have been listening wherever you are on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Prime, make sure to give us a review. Make sure to give us a rating. Always helps us out. Go ahead and follow our social media accounts. You can find us at Blake's Takes on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Letterboxd. Don't forget that Letterboxd, baby, where you can see me rate all of the movies that I watch. As always, I'm your host, Blake, and with me, my co-host, Garrett, and we'll see you guys next time on Blake's Takes.
See you guys.